I say this humbly, respectfully, but pretty privilege is a blessing and a curse. If you know, you know. Being pretty is almost an excuse for men to try to humble you or treat you like a certain way, like an object. I'm not going for that. I might be pretty in the face, but bitch, I'm mean as hell, and I will humble you back. But it sucks because we still gotta realize as women that men are scientifically stronger than us. And if their ego isn't stroked enough, we don't know how they're gonna act. And then, pretty privilege at that. I mean, it has its perks, don't get me wrong. It has its perks, but it has its curses. And it's not an excuse for the way a man treats you. You should never be treated based off your looks, period. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I know that there is girls out there that know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I feel like weird even talking about pretty privilege, trying to say that I'm pretty, but at the same time, self-love, baby, I know I'm not ugly, okay? Y'all see this. No, just playing. But dead ass though, treat me a certain way. Just actually don't. Just spare yourself.
I know y'all hate when people get on this internet and speak on this, but being a female that is attractive, that has things going for herself, it do get the lower end of the stick. People try so much to humble me, it's insane. But luckily, God gave me a very much so OG of a mama who don't play that. You're not gonna humble me, because I was raised by a baddie. Raised by a baddie. White beater, red toes, 2000s. Y'all know nothing about that. I was raised by a baddie. So one thing about the two things for sure, I'm humble in Christ. I'm a God-fearing woman. So I'm humble in that. When y'all try to humble me out here, oh, my mama don't play that.
Yep. A part of the pretty girl curse is actually changing how you dress so other people can feel more secure. Another TikTok go viral about my aunt and how she's my number one hater. It was very weird how much she hated me when I was like 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. And it's because she had a cheating husband, and I always had like this little, body going on, and she was also not just jealous of me, but like my mom is her sister. So I started dressing differently whenever I had to go to their house for holidays or whatever, and to the point that I didn't talk to her anymore, but that's weird. I also had a friend who would ask me to like dress down and not dress extra and not be myself, basically. Like, this is just how I dress, like on the regular. It's in my culture. It's like my mom dresses like this all the time. She has always like worn heels to the grocery stores and to any store. Like, this is just me. And she would say like, hey, are you gonna dress extra? But it's like, this is just me. Basically try to like make me dress like just with like shorts and Converse, whatever, which is to each their own, but like that wasn't me. Now I just give people the warning, like, you know how I dress, like you dress however you want to dress. I don't tell you how to dress, but I'm gonna dress how I like to dress, and which is very feminine, and that's it. Like, I don't conform to others anymore.
Okay, so you guys like that I mentioned that a dark side of pretty privilege is people trying to humble you. And let me just elaborate on that. People enjoy humbling beautiful women in direct and indirect ways. And that's just because they assume your life is probably amazing and you get everything you want. And how hard could it possibly be being beautiful? Right? So you kind of become like this piñata because they're like, your life is perfect. None of what I'm doing could hurt your feelings because you live a perfect life. In their minds, they feel like you meet society's beauty standard, which has a lot of value in their eyes. In most people's eyes, I should say. So it comes with a lot of envy.
I just saw a video today talking more about Brian Koberger, specifically about his upbringing and how he was in high school. Apparently, he was super overweight, didn't have many friends, he was kind of a social pariah. And then later on, he loses the weight, he starts to call himself a rapper. He tries to reinvent himself, and it didn't work. Still no friends, no social capital, still invisible. Nobody knows the exact motive behind why he unalived those 4 victims. It's never been clearly established in court or confirmed by law enforcement, but we can infer. I think his upbringing is very, very telling, especially how people described him growing up. Awkward, clumsy, friendless, pretty much unseen. And that does something to a person's psyche. There's a danger in people who have experienced that kind of chronic rejection. Not the rejection itself, but the complex it creates. Some people who have had a similar upbringing, like Brian, don't just feel left out. They identify with the exclusion, and they build an entire personality around the wound. And they convince themselves, if I finally become what they wanted, then I'll finally get what I've been deprived of. So they get in shape, they reinvent themselves. In his case, he lost the weight, he became a rapper. He tried to completely outrun and disown that part of himself. But he realized it didn't work. He was still left with that off-putting, creepy, ghost-like, Victorian child, serial unaliver vibe. You don't sweat that off on a treadmill because that's his being. And you don't patch up the being by fixing what's on the external. He thought the rebrand would change everything, that it would unlock all the social rewards that he's always been shut out of. And when the results didn't match the effort, when the world didn't just reward him the way that he believed he should have been, that's when it turned dark. See, there's a reason why he targeted someone like Maddie. She was this bubbly, beautiful, beloved, popular girl. And she represented the kind of girl, the trope of girl that never looked at him growing up, who laughed at him and rejected him. She was a proxy for that entire trope of woman that he felt perpetually victimized by. And so he got revenge. But on a deeper level, it wasn't revenge on her, but revenge on the symbol she represented. Not every man with his kind of upbringing and traumatic past ends up that way, but watch out for the ones that still carry their trauma and vitriol towards the world. You can feel it in their energy, in their resentment, in the way they speak about women, status, and rejection. You can see it in their eyes that they've kept a scorecard. Every rejection, every dismissal, every time they've felt small, every slight, and they're waiting for the moment they can settle it. Everyone goes through things, and that's not the issue. But it does become an issue when someone identifies with their trauma, with their wounds, when they use their pain as proof that the world owes them something. When somebody identifies with their traumas and their wounds so deeply, they're not going to try to fix it by healing. They're going to try to outsource healing with control, punishment, and harm.
They say that you're too into yourself, but really you're just existing out loud. It's wild how simply liking yourself as a pretty girl gets taken for being arrogant. Like, if you can walk in confidence, it's like, oh, she thinks she's better than everyone. You want to wear a cute outfit? Girl, you're going to be said that you're doing too much. You smile a little too long in the mirror, and suddenly you're the kind of girl who's just full of herself. But the truth is, you have spent years picking yourself apart, believing that you were not enough, building yourself up, and now you're just learning to love your glow, love your style, love your energy. And people want to tone you down for it? Why is it that when a girl finally loves herself, the world tries to humble her? Why does your self-worth make people feel insecure and threatened? It's not confidence that they hate. It's the fact that you found it without their permission. I wrote the Pretty Girl Survival Guide for all the girls who got tired of apologizing for simply loving themselves. The girls who were told that they were too much when they were just finally free and happy. You are just aware of your beauty from the inside out. And there's nothing wrong with that. Keep that face, put on that outfit, do that hair, get your favorite hairstyle, and wear it confidently. So if you've ever been called cocky or overly confident, it's because you like yourself. The book is for you. The Pretty Girl Survival Guide is in my bio.
When you're leveling up, please expect isolation. Please expect it. Please expect for your cheerleaders to stop cheerleading. Please expect for your fans to grow silent if you doing everything people thought you would never do, you better be ready for isolation. You better be prepared for it, because it's coming whether you like it or not. You're going to find yourself needing to remove yourself from a lot of tables, from a lot of circles, because you'll find yourself dining with haters, people that's jealous, people expected less of you and you're disappointing them because you're not giving them the less that they expected. They put you in a box. It was like, okay, she's here. I'm comfortable with that. I'm cool with that. I can deal with that. Let you climb out that box. Who told you to do that? Who told you you could get out of that space that I had reserved for you? Now I can't clap for you no more. Now I'm a half-heartedly clap. I'm gonna clap slow. Yeah. Get ready for all of that. See, when you're really, really ready for success, that's when it's time for you to say, I don't do it for other people. I do it for me. Because it will bother you if you do it for other people. Because they're not going to be happy.
My ex straight up told me, I do not see myself falling in love with you. I have fallen in love with my first ex. She was my ideal type. Listen to this, it gets worse. She was my ideal type. When I saw her, it was love at first sight. It was just like magnetic. And then my second ex, I really wasn't that attracted to her that much, but I was in love with her. There was just this feeling. But with you, you're beautiful. You are beautiful. But there's just that feeling just not there. And when I tell you girls, I spiraled, my esteem spiraled out of control. That's no lie. When they say these men humble you, when you are out of their league, they still find a way to humble you, just know there are no lies. There are no lies. This is the same man that would show off my pictures to his coworkers, to his clients that he was making sales on, because he was into solar panels and all that, whatever, energy sales. And he was like, oh my God, they always say you're so beautiful. I always show you off. And I was really flattered with that. Mind you, he tells me what I just said in month 3, after he's gotten the gifts, after he's waited 4 or 5, maybe waited 5 dates for me to kiss him, after he did all of that, that's when he wanted to humble me. I believe it was maybe 4 days before Valentine's Day. Yeah. Don't underestimate insecure men. Do not. Okay? Only listen. When I tell you, so many ways I can go, so many directions with this video. I'm just going to say this. If your esteem is healthy, you love yourself, you're like, I'm feeling it, I'm beautiful, I'm this, I'm that, never date below, never date men below you. No. Date men you're attracted to, that are your type, that have money, that have the aesthetic that you want, because these men will humble you. When I even told my friends what they said, they were looking at me and looking at him. They were like, wait, huh? Girl, what? And I was like, but you see, the enemy is looking for that doorway to get in. You could be the most beautiful girl and feel like a piece of, you know what? Simply just because you entertain the wrong man. Heed my warning. In this 2024, in Jesus' name, you will avoid the users, the men that they clearly you're out of their league. And he would tell me things like, I'm so grateful that you chose me. I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed. I just feel the luckiest guy. Oh, honey. No, be with a man that's secure in himself. Be with a man that he knows that he's decent looking. He knows that he can actually pull women. Be with the normal guy. Be with the normal. Don't go for the ones that are shy and nerdy. No, 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 no. No, no.
And I'm so happy that this conversation is finally starting to take place about pretty punishment, because people used to crucify many girls, including myself, just about talking about the downsides of pretty privilege. Like, okay, well, at least you still got, certain type of privilege. It's like, no, the downsides low-key sometimes outweigh the good side. I have lost job opportunities. I have had many failed relationships with friends. I've had failed relationships with men. Like, I can never hold a guy friend to save my life just because they're always wanting to engage in sexual relations. It's not going to work, like, at all. I'm not that type of girl. I've had people be passive aggressive with me for absolutely no reason. At my most recent job that I just left, my manager was a big hater. She was like a temp manager, and she was a big hater of mine, bro. She would be on my dick for anything, like literally any little thing. She was a mega hater, and other coworkers started to call it out too. So I'm like, okay, like, granted, I always know I'm not tripping, but it's like when other people see it too, just validates it even more. I've had so many friendships fail with like other girls because the same question they always never fail to ask me this, but it's just like, do you ever have like an off day? Like, why do you always wake up to do your makeup? Why do you always get dressed? Why are you always dressed up? It's just like, why are you always watching? Like, when it came to jobs, I would make it to the third, fourth interview, fourth round, whatever. I'd be doing good. I would get everything, like, like down to a T on what they're looking for. I'd show up in person with the interview, and I hate those interviews where they make like the team decide if they want to keep you, and it'll be just a bunch of women who like just haters, and especially like older at that too, like 40 plus, who just be hating. And yeah, they just sit there and be like, no, we don't want her, when I had everything, like everything. I'm always constantly getting judged. I'm always constantly getting picked at, constantly throwing shade at, literally for just showing up looking put together. It's crazy.
The one lesson that I have been taught countless times when it comes to friend groups and friendships is that when women have a very, very hard time being friends with someone who is extremely beautiful. If you are extremely beautiful, you will notice that you do not have a lot of friends. You might have a small circle of friends, and you might also notice that the people who are attracted to you or that you become friends with are oftentimes other beautiful women. And it becomes like this because, surprisingly enough, other people who are not as beautiful cannot become friends with a very highly attractive person because it makes them reflect on themselves. And if they don't like what they see in the mirror, they aren't going to be able to be friends with a beautiful woman. And that's just the way it is. This is something that I've been taught countless times over my life, and I've never understood why. And I just have come to the realization that many women have an easier time with being friends with other women that look like them, dress like them, from the same socioeconomic status, maybe the same race. And if you're someone who is a standout, if you are someone who defies the odds, if you are someone who vibrates at a very high frequency, you are not going to be able to have a lot of friends. You are not going to be able to have a lot of regular friends or average friends. All the people that you are going to be surrounded by are going to be high performing, high value, highly attractive people, because real recognize real. It's just the nature of the game. Sadly enough, that's what it is.
Never underestimate a man's ability to really stoop low and try and humble you. It's the kill the cheerleader syndrome. I don't know why in my last TikTok video that I was even talking about this, it got cut off, so I'll say it now. I know this might be a little bit of a hot take, but in no way, shape, or form should we allow men to even get us pregnant until we have actually secured the bag. And I know there's going to be people in my comment section, well, that doesn't mean you're going to stay together. I don't care what you have to say, because at least by law, you are legally protected in some way, shape, or form where there's going to need to be some sort of compensation here. And I'm not ragging on anyone or getting down on anyone, because none of us are exempt from this, no matter how beautiful, no matter how successful we are. But at the end of the day, the driving motivation of men will always be lust, right? It's just how they're built. And I'm not a man hater, but it is in fact the inevitable truth. And it's so amazing what, like I said in my last TikTok video, you don't see, but other people see. Like when I look back at the video, I can see that this guy was a fan. And that's why I literally said that a lot of guys, when you are someone with a public platform, they will sit there behind a computer screen and literally study you, just like some people's friendships. I've been on the receiving end of that, where people are studying me behind a computer screen, and then they get next to me, they don't hold space for who I actually am, and then they literally try and make digs and try to literally destroy me. It'll never happen though. And so I truly, my heart goes out to Liz genuinely, because she doesn't deserve that. But one of the things that will always drive us as human beings is the desire to love and also to be loved. And there will be people out there that have this predatory nature that will literally try and humble you, and they want to study you. And I saw that with him in those clips of them that were circulating, that he was really studying her and trying to figure out how he could add value to her, which is why he approached her in the way that he did with a book, because he was trying to be super innovative with it. But in the end, she's gonna win. And so let this be a lesson, ladies, that we need to stay vigilant, okay? And you should not be letting your guard down, and you should still never, ever chase a man. If you are someone that is going to be running behind a guy, and I'm not saying she did this, but I'm talking to those of you that are in 2025, if you were running around chasing a man, you're always going to lose. You're always going to lose. She did the right thing where she packed her stuff up and she was like, you got to go. And this hurts, but I would rather heal here and bring this to the light than stay with someone because of an engagement and, oh, because I'm pregnant. I'm not doing that. And I'm glad that she's not doing that either. But it is literally the kill the cheerleader syndrome. You admire someone and then you literally want to consume them and actually destroy them, because you're getting back at the fact that when you were whatever age, you could not get the popular girl. You know, it's the same principle as some of you guys on this platform that literally were losers when you were in school, and you get a platform and now you want to be mean to people, you know, when you're going to different events and all these different things. You're like a fake girl's girl. Like you want to try and create this community and then weaponize your audience against people. Like, this is not the day and age socially where there's room for you to be a fake person, because everything will be brought to the light. Like Cat Williams said, all lies will be exposed in 2025. So let that just lay where it may.
Insecure men have one goal only, and that is to humble a baddie. That is their favorite thing to do. These motherfuckers don't have no other hobbies but to love bomb a baddie, get her wrapped up in his lies and manipulation, and then drop her like a bad habit, only to humble her and bring her down to their low, disgusting level. You raggedy bitch. You must not know who the fuck I am. So, if you are a beautiful young lady and you've dealt with a dusty ass nigga trying to humble you, let me just tell you, you're doing great, honey. You're doing just fine. He's a fuck nigga and you're better off without him, okay?
Pretty girls are often popular loners because of a few things. The reason why some pretty women will be alone is because the world can be very harsh to pretty women. When you are a beautiful and pretty girl, people sometimes expect that life is just so easy for you. They then want to make life hard for you. They want to humble you. They want to bring you down a notch. And their way of doing that can be in so many different ways. It could come in the form of bullying. It could come in the form of gossiping. It could come in the form of just like so many things, right? However, because they do these things, it sometimes can have a negative effect on the pretty girl or the beautiful woman, where she feels the need to retract and withhold her energy from the world, because whenever she is out there, she's attacked. And it is a lonely path, because people often think that the pretty girl is never alone. People think that the pretty girl is beautiful, so of course she's out and about, of course she has a bunch of friends, of course she has this grand life, because everyone adores her and everyone, her energy is amazing, and maybe she's nice and kind and all of these things, and there's just no way that the pretty girl could be alone. But they don't know that the pretty girl is a popular loner. The pretty girl is in her pretty castle. She has no visitors. These are the things that people just don't really expect. They don't think that the pretty girl is ever alone. They leave them alone. They never think that they're alone, so they end up leaving them alone.
This is why they will try to humble the pretty girl. So when people go out of their way to try and humble the pretty girl, it is a way to make you feel unimportant. It is a way to make you feel small. It is a way to make you feel inequivalent. So mainly it is done to trigger insecurities in you, to leave you thinking, was it me? Was it something that I did? Or what's wrong with me? Ultimately, it's a manipulation tactic. It's done to put you in your place or to put you in a box of some sort. These type of people are narcissistic, and they often run in cliques. And then there's always a ringleader. So people like this will often need an entourage or a fan base, or think of them as yes men or yes women of some sort, because they lack the confidence within themselves to go after their targets, individually, and they don't want to come off as a hater or as jealous or as envious. So these type of people are not pleased with their own identity, so they'll target you, the pretty girl, who is confident within yourself, which will often trigger the insecurities that other people will have within themselves. Or it'll trigger doormat insecurities, like insecurities that they didn't even know that was there, that they didn't even know existed. And because these people have insecurities within themselves, they will try to bring you, the pretty girl, down in whichever or whatever way they can, as a way to compete with you, to prove that they are better than you, to prove that they are on a higher level than you, because these people often stigmatize pretty girls as mean girls. Like, from their perspective and in their minds, they're thinking, there's no way. There's no way that you're beautiful, caring, loving, funny. You're not jealous of other people. You're not envious. And God forbid you're funny. Oh, and God forbid you know how to dress. You just made yourself public enemy number one, honey. You don't even know it. If you are a beautiful girl who commands the attention of any room that you walk in, unfortunately, there are going to be people that will purposely go out of their way to try and dim your light. Because your aura, because your glow is already big within itself, unfortunately, not everybody is just going to be able to appreciate your beauty, to appreciate your presence, and let it just be that. Other people are going to go out of their way to try and diminish your light. They're going to try to diminish your character as a way to make you appear smaller. They want to be able to prove to themselves and to other people that, see, she's not all that. She's not that special. I told you she was just an average Jane. It's not only a way to assassinate your character, but it's also an attempt to take that main character energy away from you and place it on them. These people are attention hoggers. They want the attention all for themselves. They don't want nobody else to have it. And if you come around them and you start to take the attention off of them, they're going to assassinate your character. They're going to start creating diabolical plans. You're their target, right? They want the light off of you and they want it on them. They want all of the attention. They want all of the compliments. They not only want to be the star of their own show, but they want to be the star of your show as well. These people are covert narcissists. So their tactics to try and humble you as the pretty girl, it's not seen by others. It's very soft, subtle,
you know, but it can be very deadly. Not only can it be deadly in a physical way, because I know that you can see how other people take matters in their own hands when they feel envious or they feel inferior to, you know, a beautiful girl or a pretty woman. But it's more so of a spiritual thing. This can also be very deadly spiritually, because, you know, it's like a spiritual assassination. These are essentially character assassins. And if you are a beautiful woman or a pretty girl and you come across these type of people and they find you to be a threat, then you become their target. These type of people only go after people that they feel threatened by. And if you consider yourself to be a pretty girl or a beautiful woman who has experienced this type of victimization by not only your peers, family members, or a group of groupies, because essentially that's what they are, you should take pride in yourself knowing that you are exactly who you think you are, and you are who they try to make you feel as if you're not, which is being that girl. And don't get me wrong, being that girl is about being physically appealing for sure. But if you are that girl and you know that you're that girl, you know that it's not just about being pretty. You know that it's not just about being beautiful on the outside. It's not just about the exterior. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of healing. It takes a lot of growth, because pretty girls are often bullied, and that's not talked about enough. Pretty girls are bullied. Pretty girls are isolated. We are shoved to the side because we're pretty. People expect us to be strong. People expect us to be perfect. It's like we are, you know, put under this spotlight that we did not ask for, because it's not like we asked to be born, you know, looking this way. We just came out like that. There's a lot of, like I mentioned, there's a lot of scrutiny. There's a lot of bullying. There's a lot of picking yourself up. If you're that girl, you're not trying to go behind somebody's back to try to snake others, because you wouldn't want somebody to snake you. There's a lot of, you know, shadow work. There's a lot of growth. There's a lot of healing, because pretty girls are often victimized by even their own relatives, by even the people that they see on a daily basis. So it's like, not only do you have to go out in the world and fight for, you know, your place in life, you have to fight for your place in life at home. You're kind, you're loving, you're nurturing, you're caring. And then on top of all of that, you're not a pretender. And unfortunately, we live in a very shallow world where other people, or when other people come across a beautiful woman who's not pretentious, they just cannot grasp it. They cannot wrap their minds around the fact that you are beautiful and you're not pretentious. You're not a pretender. Like, they cannot fathom the fact that she's beautiful and she's not fake. Oh no, there's no way. There's no way. And they cannot be having none of that going on. They can't have none of that going on. So don't worry about the haters, pretty girl. Keep shining and keep doing you, because obviously you're doing something right.